For the 10th review of Christmas, I present to you Dark Dimension by The Purgatory, Airborne Robots by Rob Top, Oh by Catgirl Blitz, Shitty Grief by RF GD, Gale Force by Onulink GD, Minecraft Videos 2 by Death Lord, Misfire by Galaxies, Sedulous by Samifying, Backbeat Revenge by Darwin, and Supersonic Wave by SD Slayer. Dark Dimension is a disappointing piece of shit, and I really don't understand how the creators of this level butchered this so fucking badly. I hate this level with every fiber of my being. It took 1% for this level to immediately ruin itself in my eyes. Yeah, you hear those sound effects? They get worse the farther into the level you get. We'll get back to this later, but the sound effects are a consistent problem throughout the whole level, and it's not because, ew, sound effects in Classic, because I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but they were done so poorly in this level, it is insane. Keep this in the back of your mind because I have more to say about this later after I establish the rest of what's wrong with this level for this review. A lot of what makes this level bad is honestly just how much it misses the point. Black Blizzard as a level is kind of beautiful because of the way it evolves over time. It starts off incredibly simple, and the farther in you get, the more and more complicated the gameplay gets, and the more complicated the visuals get, because that fits well with the Blizzard theme. Like, that is literally the point. Dark Dimension, on the other hand, alters that simple gameplay and makes it more complex in order to buff it. And because of that, this level does a lot of things that make it feel less interesting than Black Blizzard, despite being, I guess, better on a technical level, even though I don't even want to say that. Jesus Christ, where do I even begin? I feel like I'm all over the place in this review. Alright, let's start small. Let me give you a few seconds of gameplay here that sums up every single problem I have with this level. You see the staircase in Black Blizzard, this elegant, really cool moment where it tests your knowledge on game physics, because if you don't know, the way this part works is it's an incredibly simple staircase where you're just climbing up, and it honestly looks mundane until you realize the point of this section is that you have to try to time the first click so you're on the left side of the block, otherwise you won't be able to make it because you're constantly veering to the right due to the angle these platforms are. It's a really cool little game physics moment. This moment is a fit of genius creating filler gameplay for a part of the song that doesn't really have anything to sync to, but making that filler gameplay feel honestly more interesting than a lot of the normal pre-drop gameplay. This is how you do gameplay if you're trying to build for a part you can't sync to. It's really, really cool. It's very simple, but it's very effective. So what does Dark Dimension do? It overcomplicates the fuck out of it while also making it boring by just simply having the player do a bunch of badly indicated black orb clicks. There's no tact, there's no elegance, there's no thought. It feels like a shitpost. It feels like I'm looking at Vortrock's Buff Blizzard, you know what I mean? It's just fucking lame. The level's filled with shit like this. The famous end wave to Black Blizzard is now this weird slaughterhouse consistency thing, and it's just like, why? This part's whole appeal was that it was really difficult under nerves, but very simple, and anyone could do it. And you take that, and you make it the most list demon slop you possibly could. This level kills a lot of the intensity that Black Blizzard had, and a big part of that is, like I said earlier, it doesn't really understand how to evolve over time. At the beginning of the level, you're already in the storm. There's already thunder. There's already, like, this overbearing aesthetic of a thunderstorm, whereas Black Blizzard started off honestly pretty empty, and the farther in you got, the more it evolved. It kind of had a lit fuse thing going on. Similar to lit fuse, by the time you get to the duel in Black Blizzard, it feels like the climax of a journey. It's this fucking explosion of gameplay, and it's honestly really cathartic. Black Blizzard's duel is one of those moments in GD that's just really fucking satisfying, both as a player and a viewer. It feels like everything was working its way up to this point. The intensity of Black Blizzard's climax is earned in the same way that the intensity of Nine Circles' climax is earned. Everything was building up to this moment. moment. This is what the level was getting to. This is the point. Imagine if you made a 9 circles level and the circles part had started all the way back in the cube. Like, the whole level just had the circles effect. That's kind of what Dark Dimension feels like. You get to Dark Dimension's duel and it just feels like you're getting there out of obligation. And I think it's funny that it feels that way because this level basically rips the gameplay verbatim from Black Blizzard. It's the exact same beats, but changing the deco and the theming in this way is not good. This is the Lion King 2019 of GD remakes. You change one thing thinking that it's better because it looks good, not understanding the artistic value you are sacrificing by changing that thing. The way this level achieves its difficulty is also very forced in my opinion. I already touched on some of the layout changes that I dislike, like adding the stupid Slaughterhouse consistency clicks to the end wave and the black orbs, but even beyond that, there's just weird hitbox bullshit that does not feel necessary to me. Like, for example, the famous pink orb chaining that Karma L is known for. What does this level do to it? This. I don't even have a word for this. It just adds this fucking line above it of a spike hitbox. What made the pink orb thing cool was that block hitboxes interact with the player in a funny way, so it gave you a lot of room. It was kind of this really cool game physics moment, but now this may as well just be a bed of spikes. There's no reason for this gimmick to be here anymore. Honestly, you could have just replaced the block design with spikes, because I feel like that would have been somewhat more intense, but because you tried to have the best of both worlds, gameplay-wise, it's about as lame as putting spikes here, and decoration-wise, it doesn't have the satisfaction or intensity of the spikes because it still looks like it's doing the block gimmick. It's really weird. It's a really weird choice, and I don't understand why it was made. But one of my biggest problems with this level is how fucking disrespectful it is to the song, and more importantly, to the way the song was used in Black Blizzard. I would go so far as saying all the people that hate when sound effects are used in classics hate them because of levels like this. Black Blizzard was a song representation masterpiece in the sense that not only did it represent the song flawlessly, but it added to the song. If you play Black Blizzard, the song itself feels like part of the storm. It feels like as the storm is kicking up, as the level's getting more intense, it feels like the song is matching that perfectly. Karma L has a way of using speed portals in a way that is just perfect. It works flawlessly. Dark Dimension ruins it by doing this to the song. Just to show you how overbearing it is, for the next 2 minutes of this review, I'm going to play the level's sound effects over the review. Yeah, you like that? This is exactly what it's like to look at footage of or play Dark Dimension. Be real with me, was any of this necessary? Was this honestly necessary at all? Not only is it annoying as shit, and I feel like I have to talk over this because it's so fucking awful, but it also ruins the intensity of the level and defeats the entire purpose of Black Blizzard. For no fucking reason. Like, there's no reason to do this. These sound effects just detract from the song and make it worse. The whole level is worse because of this decision. This level did not need to spam sound effects like this. I mean, genuinely, is there anybody who actually wants Dark Dimension to have these sound effects? Is there anybody that actually likes this at all? It doesn't add anything. It's just this lazy, low-effort slop way of getting emotion out of the player that isn't earned or deserved in any way. This level has not progressed to this point. And if you notice, there's barely any escalation in the intensity of the sound effects from the beginning of this audio to now. And that's not because I've cherry-picked and went into a random point in the sound effects. I have been playing the entirety of the sound effects how they sound from the beginning of the level all the way to the end. This is how worthless it is. There is not a single human being out there that will be able to convince me that there was a point to this. This is awful. Nobody likes this. Why did you do this? Anyone who defends this does not understand why Black Blizzard as a level was appealing. Above all else, though, I think the simplest thing I have to say about Dark Dimension is just simply that Black Blizzard is better. The emotional experience is better, the theming is better, the fucking audio is better somehow. I don't know. I don't know how the fuck they messed this level up so bad, because I don't necessarily hate the idea of redecorating Black Blizzard, but you have to know what Black Blizzard was doing, and you also didn't need to do all these stupid-ass gameplay changes. You could have just decorated unnerfed Black Blizzard. That'd have been kinda cool, but no. Instead, we got whatever the fuck this is. And yeah, 1 out of 10. This is fucking horrible.